I'm going to compare college football players to the homeless. I'm going to use a homeless example to make an argument. And I'll even encourage you to use this very argument against me if you would like. Why the homeless analogy? Well, here you go. And some of you may have remembered this. And heck, for all I know, to be honest, these local proposals may still be cropping up here and there. But I'm going to use an example. I know of at least two, so here you go. I remember this one from the Dallas City Council. And it was an interesting debate I had with the audience. That's not that often, to be honest, unfortunately. But the Dallas City Council introduced an ordinance that would forbid people from giving a homeless person food or money out on the street. Now, the obvious thinking there is I'm not necessarily disagreeing about the intent, the idea. And that is if you weren't giving somebody money and you weren't giving them food or whatever you're giving them on a street corner, then they would be more likely to go to a shelter somewhere. And that, in the end, would be a better thing. I'm going to assume that that's where they wanted this whole thing to go. And a lot of people felt that way. And a lot of people thought it was a pretty good idea. If you violated the ordinance and you gave somebody money or a sandwich, you'd be ticketed. Most people have agreed with it. I didn't at all. And even though I acknowledged then, and I probably acknowledge now, maybe the common sense at some level that says, well, if you want to steer people to a shelter, then this is a way to do that. I get it. And I think a similar ordinance was introduced in San Antonio not long ago. So either way, ready? My argument then, and still is, how can my government, I'm always frustrated that we act like government is separate from us, like we're not paying for it. So I like to say my government. They work for me, supposedly. My government, how can my government tell me I can't give someone a sandwich or $10 or $50 or whatever? How can my government tell me that? Should be none of your business. That may not be a good idea, but I should have the right to give away food or money as I see fit. Because of legal challenges, because I think ultimately some legal minds agreed with me, and I don't think any of these have passed. Maybe there is somewhere, but I don't think any of these have passed. Right now you're thinking, Jeff, where are we going? It's the same, is the same. I'm not going to say it is, although I predicted it will. Is the same argument going to be used for college football players? It's my money, get out of my face, I'll give them whatever I want, kind of thing. What happened in the last 24 hours is interesting. Oh, it's going to get far more chaotic. I'm sorry to tell you, the legal fighting, I think, is just starting. I think a lot of sensible things have been done in the last 24 hours, and I rarely, if ever, say that about the college sports business. But the framework is right, the framework is smart, and I'm predicting now it is on. The fight is going to be on. And I think it ultimately has to get pretty bloody. But my comparison here to the homeless argument, the ordinance argument, is you now have a setup where the college sports world, I'll frame it quickly, has been hit with a $3 billion judgment that must be paid by athletic departments throughout the country, $20 million a year. I believe the increase is at 10% per year. That's one thing. And that was a judgment rendered, and that is settled, and it's signed off on, and it is creating problems by itself because most programs don't have that kind of money. That is set. That you can check the box and say, that is a giant issue, but it's an issue that has been litigated and decided. Got it. But I think the more chaotic thing is just now starting. Something called the College Sports Commission has been created, quietly created, and they've hired an enforcer. They have hired a CEO, and he's no stiff. He's coming for you, University of Texas Sports, Inc., he says. He says he's coming for your Lamborghinis. He says, I know exactly what I'm doing. and he's been around. What's reported today is something I've talked about since the very beginning of this. It's where they should have started, but they didn't. It needs to happen. But the bigger question is, and it's going to be litigated constantly, can it happen? Should it happen? If I can give a homeless person a sandwich, should the College Football Sports Commission stop me from giving a receiver a Texas a Lamborghini and or a penthouse suite overlooking the lake? I know it's a weird comparison, but I'm not going to be shocked when you hear somebody say, what business is it of yours, Harvard lawyers? If you were hoping and you thought the college sports landscape was about to settle in, if you're sick of the stories already, your face is going to hurt because I think it's just now starting. And I don't think he's going to back away. Whoever made the hire here, I think knew what they were doing. And that doesn't happen very often in that business. I think the creation of a commission was and is very much needed. I think the guy, based on his resume and his track record, the guy they put in charge is a very good choice. The whole thing of this, and this is something I never say about that industry, the setup of this is very sensible. Now, they waited far too long, and therein lies the problem. But the move today is very sensible. But prepare for chaos. I think this will lead to, in probably this order, I think this is going to lead to a tidal wave of lawsuits brought on probably by a tidal wave of lying, probably brought on by a tidal wave of deception, probably brought on a tidal wave of hiding money. And I think it gets crazy. And I think, and I don't know when, I'll let you know when I think you're going to hear it, but I'm not going to be shocked if you hear the mention of a strike. I think you're going to hear it mentioned. I've always said it doesn't happen in college sports because it's the best internship to get to the NFL. It's the only internship to get to the NFL. It's the only internship to get to the NBA. And those guys would never strike. But the lawyers have their ear now. And some of these guys are not going to be happy. When this Harvard lawyer comes in, the prosecutor comes in and says, you can't have that anymore, kids, they're not going to like it. You know who else is not going to like it? Their lawyers and the agents and their families. Look out. They're going to start fighting. Here's what's reported now by the New York Times. There's a guy at the Times. I'm going to get him on the show this week. He is freaking all over this with common sense writing. Guy's name is Brian Seeley. Get ready for Brian. You're going to hear him a lot, and he is going to be cussed. He is the longtime head of investigations for Major League Baseball, and his brand new role, leading a brand new organization, will make him one of the most powerful people in college sports. He is about to be the most powerful person in college sports, and he's about to be the most hated person in college sports. He's 46 years old. He's been named the chief executive officer of the College Sports Commission, the enforcement agency launched by the wealthiest and most powerful conferences to oversee and implement the system that will allow direct payments from NCAA schools to athletes for the first time. Steely brings more than a decade of experience in compliance, enforcement, investigations, and policy making at Major League Baseball, with 8 years within the U.S. Justice Department and a law degree from Harvard, which used to be a good thing, but now in the political environment, that means you're the devil too. College sports, the Times reports, has a long history of inconsistent enforcement and skirting rules to gain competitive advantage. The NCAA, which has historically been the governing body of college sports, still oversees rules related to academics and eligibility, but systems installed to regulate the revenue sharing cap schools must adhere to evaluate the fair market value of name, image, and likeness deals between athletes and third parties, and monitor roster limits will be under the purview of Seeley. He begins July 1st. There is already a clearinghouse. I can tell you right now, you had better get ready. There's going to have to be arbitrators all over college campuses. And I guess mediators would be in this case. Good, you can keep me out of the divorce courts. July 1st, he starts. The clearinghouse, which has already been created, will evaluate third-party name, image, and likeness deals for athletes worth at least $600, and it's run by the Deloitte accounting firm. That goes live on Wednesday. You can hear the screaming on Thursday. You can see the fights starting on Friday. This is where the hammer is thrown down. It's reported by the Times that schools in the power conferences, and this would include the SEC, this will include the Big Ten, this will include the ACC and the Big 12, they're expected to sign a formal agreement to abide by the rulings made by the new CEO. He's also going to have a team of arbitrators. So the league, this is where the setup is, everyone. This is when you can start to get ready. I don't know if kickoff is going to happen the way you think it's going to happen next year, but we're about to find out. So he's in charge. He's been around. He's got a team of arbitrators, and reportedly the leagues are saying now we're all going to agree to what he and his arbitrators rule. You should start laughing about that right about now. No, they won't. No, they won't. I mean, and some of the players won't want to. That's where this is headed. It has to head there. It has to get there. He has to have this job. Somebody had to do this. Somebody with some power, somebody with some brains, somebody with some enforcement capability. But he needed the leagues to agree to it. He needed the leagues to say, listen, you've got to live by these. Wait until they start hiding the money. Oh, but Jeff, I've seen this exact template play out. I know exactly how it works when somebody says, you can't take the money, you can't take the car, you certainly can't take the cocaine again. If you do that, you're in trouble. Sure, right on, man. His first task, we don't have subpoena power. We don't have search warrant power. I've operated in that system for over a decade, so I'm well suited to continue to do that in college sports. He says, I think I'm one of the few people in the country who's probably led investigations into salary cap circumvention. And so in terms of subject matter, at least part of this, I have a lot of experience. It's very well said. Like I said, what I know of the guy already, what's reported by the New York Times about him and his background, you probably could, and you got somebody outside of the college sports space because they are myopic, they are bureaucratic, they don't have stones, they don't, so they made the right move to go get someone from somewhere else, and they made the right move to go get someone from professional sports because they end up in arbitration all the time. So you're thinking, Jeff, this sounds like they've got it all set up, ready to go. They, the rich ones, the rich players, the players who are saying, why did he get the car and I can't have it? They are going to go ballistic. They're not going to like it. I thought I was getting a Lamborghini. Now this Harvard dude shows up and I'm not getting a Lamborghini. I want my Lamborghini now, or I'm going to find someone to give it to me and I'm not going to tell you about it. This is going to go crazy. If it doesn't, I'll be very surprised, pleasantly surprised. So, okay. The loudest screams that you will hear initially, and I do think they are probably been, smart ones have probably been preparing this. Let me tell you something about the world of big-time college sports, college football in particular. So you have, this is where things go crazy, is you have renegade owners. You have renegade sugar daddies. And they like being in control of the players in the program. And then when they feel like they can no longer own their team, their college team, they really don't like it because it's kind of crack for them. It's power crack. So you have these athletic departments who, if they're smart and if they've done what's reported, they've said, hey, I'm sorry, this isn't about us. This is O'Brien here, man. He's the Harvard guy, and he's tough. This is his deal. We just agreed to it. So they're going to get their pass. But the sugar daddies and the families and the players who are saying, well, everyone told me by the time I'm, going to sign with XYZ, I'm getting the cash in the car. Where's my stuff? Well, the dude called me up and said, I'm getting my stuff. Some other guys on the team have stuff. They've got one guy I talked to who helped recruit me. He's got a penthouse. My dad was promised a car. They'll find someone to give it to them. And then they'll try to hide it. And they'll lie about it. It's what's going to happen. It's the way it always happened. So the loudest screams, I think, are going to come initially from Texas Tech and SMU. Their instant success is completely, I don't care if you're offended by this, I'm pretty sure this is accurate, but their instant success, I was just in a documentary about ESPN's next level rise to football success again. Their instant success is dependent upon cash. Okay, the sugar daddy economics of, hey, we've got enough rich guys around here that'll hand you money. That's what's working for them. That's what has worked for them. Texas, Ohio State, and Michigan, they have built-in advantages the SMUs and the Techs of the world don't have. Yeah. I know they have a lot of money, but they also have built-in power. They have built-in prestige. They have all the trappings of living in the best cul-de-sac. So they're going to scream. Don't get me wrong. But the loudest scream is going to come from the people who are now finding instant success. And SMU, and they're good, and they have talent. They've just found their way back. You know how they found their way back? The way they got in trouble in the beginning. Buy some dudes. Get some rich North Dallas country clubbers together and buy some dudes. And that's what they've done, and they're winning. And now this is what's going to happen. Someone's going to say, hey, rich guys at the club, you can't own that team anymore. What do you mean I can't own that team? I'm out $5 million. I'm out 5 cars. And you know what? We're winning, and I like it. Up yours. Then it's game on. Game on. So Lubbock is at a disadvantage, obviously. I mean, now all of a sudden you have a rich oil guy with nothing better to do but spend $5 billion of the $5 billion he made. He's going to start spending it on sports. But selling Lubbock without a cash handout is going to be really tough again, next to impossible again. You'll go right back to where you were if you don't have the cash advantage. So then you get to the blue bloods, and they may shrug their shoulders a little bit, but that's not where the big fight is going to start. So let's just say, hey, Texas, he says, Texas, he doesn't say this, but this is kind of the intent. I'm coming for the Lamborghinis, okay? Because, as I've said for a few years, when they first said name, image, and likeness, I laughed and said, nobody knows what they're talking about. These are not advertising deals. Nobody's hiring these guys, except for maybe an Arch Manning. So when he says, I've got a clearinghouse, we have a definition, we have all the things that I've been suggesting for a while, and they're going to look at these third-party deals that you are supposed to let them know about if it's over $600. So if you got the Lamborghini, you got 11 of them in the lot at Texas, we need to see 11 of the agreements so we can approve those agreements or not approve those agreements. And if you disagree with us saying that we don't approve of that Lamborghini agreement, then you can go to arbitration, and the arbitrators will decide this. And more times than not, the arbitrator is going to say, hey, kid, tell your uncle this doesn't even come close to becoming an advertising deal. You're not doing ads for Lamborghini. They gave it to you. Sorry, give the car back. And then when they don't give it back, what happens? What happens? Because that's what's going to happen. Okay? You know it. Most of you wouldn't give it back. Your uncle wouldn't give it back. So this is, I think it's going to get really, really crazy and really ugly. And I think the question is the new enforcer, the Harvard law prosecutor, is he going to prosecute across the board? Because history tells us that it's easy to bust SMU. You fight Texas or Michigan, and you are fighting a monster. A monster. They don't lose. So, punishing Texas Tech Because what's going to happen, I'm telling you, what will happen is people are not going to want to give the money back. People are not going to want to say, wait, 6 months ago, this was a college deal where I could get rich and my dad could get rich, and now I can't. And then he's going to be out, and his dad and he are going to meet somebody, and the sugar daddy's going to say, forget that stuff. We'll take care of you. And they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And then the athletic department's going to give a lecture. And some assistant bureaucratic AD is going to walk in the room and say, any of you doing this, this, and this, if you have any sort of gifts over $600, here's a form you have to fill out. And they're either going to fill out the form and lie, or they're not going to fill out the form. And then people will rat on each other. I've seen it a million times. And once they rat on each other, then the prosecutor's going to come in and say, hey, we've looked into this, and your dad's got a Lamborghini and a brand new house by a country club in Austin. That's not going to pass. You're in trouble. Then the question is going to be, what is trouble? What are you going to do to them? Punishing Texas Tech and SMU is one thing. Texas is another. SMU's program, I mean, we're right back to this place. SMU's program was ended for this very model, this exact same model. And more than likely, I would love to say I'm wrong and all this stuff works out. I don't think I am. Ultimately, they're going to hide the money. They're going to hide the cars. They're going to lie about everything because that's what people do. Then what happens? Then SMU gets busted again. What about Michigan? What about Texas? Oh, Jeff, but they don't cheat. To tell you the difference in the standards, Michigan was spying on teams on their run to the national championship, and they didn't forfeit a single game. What punishment will be handed out? If the league is signed off on this, I mean, this is going to be the ultimate test. The league signs off on it and says, hey, listen, Texas, listen, A&M, because the Arkansas of the world, the Alabamas of the world are going to be the ones narking on them. They're going to be the ones ratting them out because they don't have the cash. So now jealousy is very much in play with some teeth. And so this guy, this enforcer is going to say, well, not only did you lie on paper, you turn around and lie to the arbitrators. So that means what? You're going to suspend him suspend the program? You're going to get him off TV? You're going to cut scholarships? When that happens, you have World War III. I mean, it's just SMU will scream and yell. And Texas will fight you to death if you take away their wins. Michigan, too. I mean, that's a world they don't live in. So I don't think this gets any better. I mean, think about the Texas Tech situation with that softball player. Other than the fact that they burned her out, but she gets 7 figures because a rich oil guy's wife likes softball. She leaves Stanford for Lubbock. She gets a 7-figure deal, and then they re-up another 7-figure deal the day she's pitching in the championship game against Texas. What happens if they cut her off? Do you think she's staying in Lubbock? Do you? I mean, that's what they face. You cut them off. Everyone's out of there as fast as humanly possible. So they're going to lose that taste of success. Rich hangers-on. The men hanging around programs. The dudes who like owning those players and owning those programs will not like the taste of success, as messed up as it is. Trust me, I've seen it. As messed up as it is, they're not going to like the taste of success being ripped away from them by some prosecutor from Harvard. It's going to piss them off, and they're going to hide it. And then you got this decision of, now what? Up to that point, I think my sandwich analogy, I think is going to be brought up countless times. What kind of country is this? You can't tell us we can't give a Lamborghini. That's going to be argued constantly. So that's probably going to be litigated along the way. People are going to hide the money. So this guy's got a heck of a job in front of him. If he plows forward as a prosecutor and he digs up a lot of stuff, and he will. People lie. People lie all the time in that business. The hangers-on are not going to tell you the truth. So then what happens? I mean, they're going to end up in court. But then you're going to have a new generation of high school athletes or transfers they were at the cusp of living in a world of getting rich in sugar daddy economics, and all of a sudden that's ripped from them. You don't think those agents that were taking 28 to 30% are going to say, to hell with that kid? You know what you need to do? Sit down on the field and not play. That's where this is going to go. Most likely. To think that this goes smoothly would shock me. It's the right thing to do. It's just you let everything happen and now you want to come back and take it back. And I don't think it's going to be taken very well. You can watch both SMU documentaries and you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. You can see the SMU documentary about when they, all the way up to the governor, when they were paying dudes off, got busted, the program was ended, to the new way that they're doing it legally, paying guys off, and they're having success. And then they're going to have it ripped away again.